So AI basically is that we call it digital species. And what does that mean? It's really you thinking about the field that is dedicated to trying to make machine as smart as human. So what is happening here in the field of artificial intelligence is they want to try to make machine replicate human intelligence of being able to reason, make decisions, solve problems. And that is so profound. And that's why you hear all around these days AI is going to replace your job. Why? Because if a machine can get to that level of intelligence that we humans have, and what does intelligence mean? Right? Intelligence means you can learn, you can reason, you can make decision based on some data around you, based on some information. So if a machine can do the same thing, then that is scary. And that's why you see all the news, they're like, oh, AI is going to take all our jobs. And it's with merit. But the truth is, at this stage, we're not quite there where machines can function at the level of human intelligence at this stage. But we can see that there's a lot of progress that have been made so far in the world of artificial intelligence. I'll tell you a story. In 2019, I was working on a project which is computer vision project. So basically the project was to study how I can design some application that will be able to interpret images. So vision, just like we can see. I don't know how many times we really appreciate the fact that, oh, as a human, I can actually see information. And that is so profound to replicate in machine. The field that studies or develops that capability for machine is called computer vision. If you think about today, you pick up your iPhone and you can use facial recognition. So the app can take an image of your face and unlock your phone. That is partly because of the advancement that has been made in the world of computer vision, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. If we look all around us today, we see that there's a lot of progress that have been made in the world of AI. If you think about computer vision, as I was just describing, you can pick up your phone, scan, like unlock your phone literally with your face image. That is computer vision working there, right? And if you think about recommendation system, so many of us, we have Netflix. How does Netflix know that based on 1, 2, 3 movies that I've watched, I need to suggest all these movies that Tayo will like, or Noah will like, or Jennifer will like? That is also AI. But I'll tell you why there's so much buzz now, because of course we've been used to recommendation systems for many years now. When you go to Amazon, for example, you buy a few things, you see that they recommend some other similar product they want you to buy. So it's already there. That artificial intelligence is there. But why is it now different now that, every industry in our personal life is just taking over? Because we've made so much gain. If you look at the evolution of AI, in today's age, AI has transformed every part of our lives. Your personal life. For me personally, I can use it to plan my workout, to plan my meals. Like the other day, we were like, oh, we're tired of our menus. Can we just research new menus based on some ingredients that we can find around us we can plan it for the next 2 months, and we got good recommendation. So I'm sure you all use that, ChatGPT and all of that. But what we want to talk about today is more deeper than just ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a tool, but it's important that we also understand the field of artificial intelligence. And that's the promise today, that by the end of this session, you leave here and you're like, yes, I know a lot more about artificial intelligence. What actually makes this machine smart, have that intelligence, right? The intelligence that we're talking about, to be able to do things or try to do things that humans are doing. As I said, there are limitations to that. We'll not dive into that today, but like there are limitations in terms of ethical consideration, security issues. There's a lot of things, but the fact is that we've already made a lot of progress. So the curiosity that the gains that tools like ChatGPT now expand our mind to is mind blowing. Before, as I was saying, when I was working on some AI project in the past, and we'll get into how AI tools are trained to have that level of intelligence. Just think about it today. For you to say somebody is intelligent, it means that they are making some very important decisions that are correct, right? They can reason, the way they talk, the way they make decisions, the way they carry themselves, like is with fact and purpose, right? And it's correct. That's why you say somebody, oh, this person is intelligent, like they just get a lot of things right, right? The same way machines intelligence is when you ask ChatGPT question, for example, and you're so impressed with the response it gives you, like, oh my god, how did you come up with this answer? And that is why it is so profound now that industries, businesses are like, if we can get this quality response to do research work, to do analysis, to do new creation like content creation, to write books, so many use cases there, then we should pay attention. Unlike before, it's a bit of a laughing stock. Like, so in 2022, for example, in one of my masters, I was doing admission chatbot for a university where I was supposed to build a generic admission chatbot. And just as I was saying, we learn through experiences, through information. All those things, information is data as well. So for you to learn more about artificial intelligence, you're consuming new information about artificial intelligence today, and that is data. It's the same way for artificial intelligence, for machines to be able to get to that level of intelligence, they need data as well, right? They need data. So going back to my story, when I was trying to build an admission advice chatbot, literally it's supposed to help university undo the influx of inquiries whenever there's an admission process opening, jackpot season, where everybody wants to travel, and sometimes this university, they get too much inquiries that they can't attend to, so the process is slow. So they wanted an admission advice chatbot that can answer inquiries for students, like basic admission inquiry question. But the challenging thing was, how do I train this chatbot to understand the different questions and how you would answer question? Prompt you are going to give that chatbot is going to be different from the one I would give. It's going to be different from the one Tyler gives. So everybody will ask the same question in a different way. It was so difficult at that time to think about all the scenarios of how I'm going to map responses or questions to answer. Why? Because my technique of training it was rule-based technique. So I don't want to confuse you with those technical things, but the point is, when we get to machine learning, which is how we train this machine to be intelligent, there are different techniques. So in my story, I was using rule-based technique, which means I'm pretty much mapping questions to answers, right? So if you ask, what date is your new enrollment starting? I want to map it to a response like, so we're seeing new one in January, right? But student B may not ask the same question that way. They may say, when is your enrollment? Or they say, enrollment date. So there are different ways we can ask question. But challenging thing now for me at the time was, how do I map different intent, different question into that same answer that they are looking for? So that rule-based technique was very tough at the time. And the beautiful thing now is that we have large language models like ChatGPT, that it doesn't matter how you ask the question. They've been trained with so much trillions of data that they know the answer. You can ask it in different ways. Of course, the quality of your response will be defined by the quality of your questioning. And that's another field of prompt engineering. We'll talk about that. But what I want to emphasize here today is that there's been significant progress. So we've left the era of trying to map question and answer precisely. And if somebody does not ask that question the way that I've mapped it, then the answer will not come. and that scenario will fail, and then you feel like, oh, this thing is not intelligent. Going back to the fact that we say this system is intelligent because it is giving us quality responses. It can reason, it understand context, and that is a beautiful thing. So with that being said, I've explained how it was like as early as a few years ago and up to the point where they launched large language models like the one ChatGPT is using, that change pretty much everything, where we don't need to worry about being precise with our responses. It pretty much can give you some answers, right? It may not be the perfect answer, but it will give you some answer. So that has like sparked a lot of curiosity, and the speed of it is also like so important to recognize. You ask a question on ChatGPT, in few seconds it's giving you responses. That speaks to speed. So in any field, in any industry, you go there, you ask your question, it just spits out the answer. That's profound. The personalization effect as well. So, like we've mentioned, Netflix recommendation. When you're shopping, you can have personalized shopping experience. AI is working in the background to learn about your spending habit, your shopping habit, social media habit. So they'll be recommending, oh, you like posts from Sync Skills, let's feed them. Let's feed you more posts from Sync Skills. Oh, you've liked a video from somebody, maybe like a content creator you like, you will start to see that they feed you more of that content from that creator. So those things are AI and algorithms working beneath to give you that experience. Your movie as well, you watch action movie, Netflix will start to suggest more action movies. They say, oh, we think we like this type of movie. Or Nigerian movie, right? It starts to give you more recommendation of Nigerian movie. So that is the way AI learns from the data, your experience. So what you do is you're feeding the system data, and it's learning your habit from that data, and as such is making predictions. So those things are about making predictions, and when they make correct predictions, we say they're intelligent. So if you have questions, please pop it there in the chat, or just raise up your hand and let's have a chat. So it's not a monologue really. If you have a question, you can raise up your hand. Let's have a chat. So in terms of innovation as well, there's so many things that we can do with AI now. So the other day I wanted to solve, I was thinking about a use case of how do I make sure that everybody has seen skills that are that job application stage, they kind of get a trigger of the new jobs in the market on Seek. Like once new jobs are posted on Seek, I want that job to be sent to my student. Of course, I cannot go and be on Seek every time and be waiting for a new job and be searching. That is impossible to do. So I built an automation using some AI tools that once a job is like 4 hours or 5 hours on Seek, like I customize it, there's opportunity to do that. So once it's like 1 hour, like 4 hours or a day on Seek, I want it to send those jobs to my student on our Slack channel without me doing anything. And that's the type of like innovation that you can do in the small things, which is valuable. So I asked some of them yesterday, did you find this valuable? And they said yes. I thought, yeah, previously you couldn't do that like with a simple tool and prompt and configuration. You need to learn how to code, you need to learn how to do some complex algorithm configuration to achieve that. But right now, there's so much possibility. You just need to think about what is the use case, that what do I want to achieve, like research how to do that, right? So you see innovation like in all the industry, healthcare, for example, it can assist in diagnosis, analyzing data set, like some very weird symptoms, and it can aggregate data, a lot of hospital data to check, oh, what are the common patterns in people that have diabetes, for example, analyze the large set of data that may be impossible to do manually. So there's so much possibility here. In terms of transportation, now we're seeing some self-driving cars. There was a time we went for a test drive for one electric vehicle, and we were very excited because like it could do autonomous driving, pretty much hands off the wheel, and you put your destination in the map, and of course with some supervision it can drive and control itself. So we've seen those kind of innovation. Like everywhere you look at, there's some form of innovation there, which is profound. And I've talked about automation. I gave an example of how I've used automation to be able to be more efficient. Now, this is kind of like where we are now. So there are three types of artificial intelligence, and it's important to know this. There's the general artificial intelligence that we've been talking about. So you're used to all of these. Siri, for example, Alexa, there is Cortana, there is ChatGPT, all of that, right? So pretty much you can ask questions, give you responses. Sorry, ChatGPT is not there because ChatGPT is a large language model. It's here. So these ones, they are a bit narrowed, right? They don't have a large general view of the world. They are not trained with pretty much all the data in all industry. We've talked about the fact that machine gets smarter with the amount of data they receive. So they learn from the data. Right? So Siri, Alexa, all of these, they will learn from a specific narrowed kind of like general conversation. If you're asking them specific things about work, they're going to give you responses that are not like, in fact, Siri will say, oh, sorry, I don't have an answer to that. We've seen that a lot of times. And this is where we are now, artificial general intelligence. So we know ChatGPT, but there's a brain behind ChatGPT, which is AI model. We're going to talk about that later. But what I want you to know that GPT means general purpose transformer. So basically, that transformer, they've trained it with pretty much all the data on the internet, in books, in audio format. So they've scraped data from everywhere, pretty much all industry, to train the GPTs. So ChatGPT is the one we interact with, but there's a AI model, language model, that is so large. They've used so much data of the world to train, and that is why it can answer questions in pretty much all the domains. But again, it has limitations because sometimes it hallucinates, which means it give you responses that are generic or not correct. Right? So occasionally it does that. But here, the third state that we're going to be approaching soon is where machine now have consciousness. What does consciousness mean to us? I'm keen to hear. Like, what does consciousness mean to us? Can we pop in the chat or mute? Anyone? Awareness. Yes, yes.
Being present.
Yeah. Being present. Thank you. They are aware. Mind of his own. Thank you. That's brilliant, right? So now imagine machines that is being present, that is aware of the environment, and they can kind of talk, they can make decisions on their own. That is where we're getting to. And it's not far away. 2 days ago, they've just launched Gemini 2.0, and in fact, the model is mind-blowing. So it can do all of the things you know today, ChatGPT does, all of that, but it can do shopping on your behalf. Of course, you supervise it, right? So I was watching the demo, I was like, wow. So it has AI agent that can do shopping on your behalf. It will go to website, search things for you based on your prompt, and put in your cart, and then you can decide to check out or not. So many use cases. You can pretty much, I talked about computer vision the other time. You can scan a bus and say, what route is this bus going? And it can pretty much give you information. I should say, at least in developed country. You can't scan bus in Nigeria, for example, and to not give you anything, because it doesn't have that data, right? We don't have that data, but pretty much if standard buses here, they can tell you what route, what time the bus is going from Google Maps and all of that. So that data is used to train this new set of language model. You can just pretty much scan the bus and it tells you the route, what time it, all of those kind of information to help you make decisions. And it's just mind blowing. You can scan a tree and it tells you the type of tree, that you're standing in front. There's so much possibilities that is just mind blowing. And I mean, I think that's the word, mind blowing. So just imagine if we get to that stage where the machine now has consciousness and they can make decision on their own without input. They are aware of their environment. Oh my God. Then it has both pros and cons. But I don't want to get into the pros and cons. I'm not here for the debate, right? But just for us to know. So with that being said, I'm sure like maybe not to make that claim, but we may have heard of algorithms before, right? And this is where we were before with general like artificial intelligence stage. We just know that when coding is really about telling an app to do XYZ. For example, when I click send when I want to transfer funds from my mobile app, I should log in, I should have the right balance, then I should choose the bank, all of those. So those are a set of instructions that have been programmed in apps, right? So algorithm is like a set of instructions, and that's what coding is about. We tell this app to do this. So that's why WhatsApp cannot allow you send money, send funds, right? Because it's not programmed to send funds. It's not a bank app. So without understanding, algorithm is like a set step-by-step instruction that we've told a particular system or app or website to do particular thing step by step. Yeah. So if we understand that, there's another part that I've kind of like touched on earlier, and machine learning, right? This is us saying, no, we're not just going to tell this machine to do things step by step only. We want to allow and give this machine flexibility to learn from a set of data. That's how we train machine to be intelligent, right? So the machine is literally learning, just like you're trying to train a dog. So you would train the dog or how to behave, how to not poo everywhere or pee everywhere, that kind of thing. You give it some instruction. That's the same way they would give that machine some, like it's a technique. And I don't want to go into all the technique, but I think I mentioned one earlier. There's a rule-based technique that I talked about in one of my projects, where you set question and you map question and answer kind of thing based on some flow and all of that. The problem with that is it doesn't factor context and all the nuance in communication that we always have. So it will fail if it's not like matching exactly. So, but going back to machine learning, is really giving flexibility to say, hey, we would allow you learn from all of these data. So if I want to train a machine on how to recognize a cat, I will feed it like thousands of pictures of cat. The cat that is black, that is white, that is purple, whatever color, the one that have fur, that does not, different sizes, so that the machine have seen enough data to know that, okay, whenever somebody asks me, show me a picture of a cat, I would go into my memory bank of all the cats that I've learnt and kind of like give the answer. That is how machines are trained to be intelligent. So, as I said, there's a way we train them so that they can give correct answer. And that's what we call AI model. So the AI model is the brain. That's like ChatGPT. The brain is the GPT there, as I mentioned earlier, that has been trained. So the chat is just like the platform where you chat and all of that, but there's a brain behind it that returns the responses. Yeah. So another beautiful thing is natural language processing, which is really about machine speaks zeros and ones. That's the language of machine. But of course, I'm sure like 95% of us here, we don't speak, like we don't understand zeros and one because we're not developers. So basically, we need to speak to machine from our own perspective in English for it to be accessible for everybody to relate to it. And the beautiful thing is that, you know, tools like ChatGPT, Siri, and all of that, the fact that we can speak to them in English or other language and get responses is only possible because of the language, natural language processing ability of AI. Like I said, AI, like machines, don't speak English. They speak their language is zeros and one. So this is really the field of converting our English to machine language, zeros and one, to give us that response. I hope that that makes sense. And deep learning is like what helps us to be intelligent is our brain, right? Our brain. So that's what where all those processing happens. And that's why I laugh when some people say, "Oh, I'm not smart enough. I'm not." As long as you don't have damaged brain, you've just not fed your brain enough information. That's really what that is. You've not learned a lot. That's it. Everybody is smart, but you can decide to feed. It's the more you feed yourself information, the smarter you become. It's the same thing here. So what helps machine to be more intelligent is the field that focuses on trying to build the brain of computer. So they mirror the brain of human, all the learnings that they've learned from how the human brain works. So the brain consists of trillions of neurons, but basically the neurons in our brain, the formation of the brain is what they are trying to replicate for machines. So when there's a complex problem like recommendation or like analysis, there are different neurons, or in terms of machine, they are called nodes. It's like they wired it like human brain as well. Nodes that would different nodes would take care of different part of that problem solving. So it's not one node that will solve the complex problem. One node may be good in identifying images, another may be good in direction, Google Map, another may be good in summarizing text. So if you have a problem that you need to recognize image, identify route, give information about the location or whatever or address, then different nodes that are experts in that particular thing work together to come up with that answer. This field is about building the machine brain to mimic something like human brain, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Can I just get a reaction so I know that I'm not waffling?
Yes.
Does that make
Makes
Yes,
sense,
makes
everyone?
yes,
sense. Yes.
Yeah? Okay, thanks. Um, all right, and this is also what I was saying, right? So neural network is like a subset of deep learning. So as I mentioned, it's like trying to build the brains of the machine so that they can understand complex things or complex problems the same way we humans can interpret different information and make decision. Yeah. So it's important to know all of these terminology. So when next time you hear algorithm, natural learning processing, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, you're not like intimidated like, oh my God, this is so complex. No, it's not. All right. Can I just get a sense? What has stood out for you so far in the chat? What are we learning? What has stood out so far? I need to get
Definitely.
it.
I can see they're really trying to mimic the brain.
Yeah?
Because just as you said, in terms of the brain, what happens when you learn, if you learn something new, you create a different pathway. Um, there is something called plasticity. So, for instance, if
Yeah?
you lose your eyesight, so my question is, I wonder if there's damage to the node. I mean, because the brain is something I'm really interested in. Anyway,
Mm.
and it ties with my line of work. But if there's damage to the node, can it can that learning in that node be adapted by another node? I wonder if they've got to that point yet.
Yeah, so there's a complex thing, and as you know, appreciating that I'm not an AI engineer, right? But the point here is, like you said, if there's a damage to a node, it will impact the response, right? And that
Mm,
means they would inspect that. They always improve it every time, right? They improve it,
okay.
and that's the way they handle those type of situation.
Okay. All right. So they've
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, I said A- AI model is the brain of the AI system, right? This is not always pronounced because in the back end, like your engine, nobody says, "Oh my God, I love the engine of your car." No, they say, "Oh, I love your car," right? It's the outward part we see and we appreciate. But the same way we can say I love ChatGPT, but there's a model that is powering ChatGPT. And I wanted to call out the AI model, brain of that AI system. And this is like what they do. First, they build them using algorithm. Remember, I said algorithm is like a set instruction, step by step of solving problems, right? But what is important here is they don't just do algorithm alone in terms of AI, they give it flexibility to learn. Going back to machine learning, so they allow this AI model to learn using machine learning techniques, right? So, meaning we're going to train this AI model with different data. So, like ChatGPT, for example, has been trained with data from the internet, right? Books, text, audio, whatever, and some expert as well. They've tested it, they've fine-tuned it, they've guided it, so there's a lot in there. But what is important for you to take out here is that this model needs to be trained with data, just like humans as well. If you want to become a chef today, right, you need to go and get training, right? Which is they are gonna give you information about, oh, this is how to become a chef, like this is how we make food, different recipe, all of those things. That's data, that's information that your brain will be processing. And the more you revise it, the more you practice it, the better you become. That's why experience is truly about how many times I've done this, and the more you do it, the better you become. Okay, so that is the same kind of logic they used to train all these AI model. But I should also call out that models are designed to solve specific problem. But what is profound about large language models like ChatGPT is that they made it so general that they've trained it with so much data. That's why another company, or like a company that is just starting, it's not easy for them to build a large language model like ChatGPT, like Google's Gemini and all of them large language model, because God is so expensive to maintain. It is so expensive that the amount of data you need to use to train those models, you may not have access to it. So most people or companies would they'll design specific models for their own use case. So for example, like a few months ago, I customized the GPT and I fed it with all the data that I have generated, like all the webinars that I've done, like some training slide I've created, some training class. So I fed it with all those information pretty much. So if I wanted to develop an FAQ for a student based on like business analysis, Scrum, project management, all of those kind of things, you can pretty much just use, like they can ask that AI model, I can send the link to person, they can just chat with it and it will at least to a good point answer questions. It's going to be tailored response to scene skills context because I've trained it with our own specific data. Because if you go on ChatGPT and you're saying that, okay, how did Noah explain requirement? one, he may not. Who is Noah? Like, it's because he doesn't know what Noah like does, right? But when Noah has actually trained that specific model with his own data and videos and images and whatever. Now, if I ask it, oh, when did Noah say this in a class? Then it will try to come up based on the data it has and the learnings that it has to give that response. Does that make sense? Hey, please
Yes,
now respond.
yes.
All right, please respond. I like a collaborative discussion, please. All right, the next thing I want to call out is that AI models just make predictions based on data. So they learn from the data, as I've just said, and they can make. So if you say, when did Noah say something, it will go and search the database, the data it has, and look for, did Noah say anything like this? And if yes, it will come up with the response and say, hey, Noah said this on this day, whatever, whatever, whatever. So it's making prediction based on the data or generating new context for you. So that's how like AI model works. The output, we've all seen the output, right? You ask AI model a question, like ChatGPT, it gives you a response. And in specific instance, say for example, you've seen how anybody wondered how some emails go to spam folder. Does anybody know how that has come to be? That some of your email goes to spam folder.
I'm just wondering if it's based on the particular ones you open and the ones you don't, or the uh,
Mm,
email address it's coming from.
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
is it
good
based
try.
on anything like that?
Good try. But pretty much, that's kind of like AI working in background, saying, oh, if I see something like win a prize, promo, congratulations, you have just. So it will kind of like say, maybe this is a spam email and move it there. But sometimes it gets it wrong where a legitimate email may have gone to spam folder when it's not, especially if you've not received email from that email address before, right? It happens all the time. So the point is it makes prediction based on some patterns. And we know if you go to your spam folder now, you most likely will get win something or congrat all those funny emails. It automatically will try to put them where in the spam folder. All right, so now that we know that, let's quickly crack on and talk about something. So this is also basically how it trains. I've also talked about this. So we get data from real world. They clean it, they reformat it because sometimes the data are in different format: audio, video, text, paragraph, books, PDF, Word document. So they will reformat it, manipulate the data, and use it to train the model, and they start to test it. And like Tess said, say for example, during the deep learning process, a node is malfunctioning or not working as it should, what happens? They start to fine tune and improve it. So that is the journey. This is the way AIs are trained. It's a bit more complex, but this is the general view. Of course, once they've trained, for example, if I've trained that any emails that come on Google Mail and any sequence of words that says congratulations, you have just, or enter this raffle draw for promo, send me some fund, any string of text like that, just move that email to spam for all email addresses. That's why you see automatically some of those emails just go to spam. They don't come to your important email by default without you doing anything. So that is AI in action. Or the one that is even popular, social media. Have you noticed that, okay, so if you watch a video from a particular person, or let's say you go on Google now and you search PS5, do you think you start to get recommendation on that thing on IG, other platform? Have you experienced that before? Yeah?
Yes.
All right. Thank Tess for rescuing me today. Okay, thank you. So that's what happens. So let me talk about how the models are trained. I talked about this earlier, rule based. So based on some rules, mapping question and answer, return the response. But the problem with this is if your prompt or your question does not match what I've configured, it fails. And also, it doesn't understand context. I'm sure we all know what I mean by context, right? So I may be saying, what is the weather? Like context meaning it may not, I may ask, what is the weather? And I follow up with a question. Is it going to rain tomorrow? In rule base, it may not factor my first question and the interaction. It may not factor all those contexts. It may just be answering one to one, if you get what I mean. Today, ChatGPT can factor the sequence of, you know, questions and interaction at a go. If you use your rule-based training only, it may just be able to respond question and answer, like FAQ, question answer question. You may not know that, okay, no, I was the one that asked the question earlier. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. This one is machine learning based training. I've explained this as well. So basically, there are a couple of machine learning based training approach. One, supervised learning. This is like we are going to label our data, right? So we're going to say, I'm going to feed this model 100,000 pictures of cat. So I'm going to label it red cat, blue cat, cat that is fat, cat that is slim, cat that is malnourished, cat that has big head, cat that has small head. You label it basically, right? And you test it. Oh, can you return the cat that is fat? If it returns cat that is slim, you would reconfigure and say, hey, that was a wrong response, right? Try again. So that's how they kind of like train it. So that's supervised learning. Just like we all learn, there's some supervised type of learning where somebody is looking at you doing the thing and correcting you. Yeah? Unsupervised learning is the opposite. We just load it with data. We don't tag it or name it or label it. The machine just needs to make predictions and generate some insight. And reinforcement learning is a combination of these. So when we load it with data and stuff, we ask it questions, then we kind of monitor the response, then give it more information so it knows what is correct and what is wrong, and things like what is correct sometimes may not be ethical, right? It may be offensive, right? So reinforcement is going to be able to help give that context. And that's why before they release these models, they do all of those like, training, using people to validate some of the response so it's not harmful. So for example, we said ChatGPT is a general model, can answer most questions. But if I go there and type, I want to make a bomb to bomb Australia, he probably will not respond to you because even though that's a correct question to ask, right? It is not ethical, like it's dangerous. It may say, sorry, I'm not allowed to provide you this information for whatever, dangerous, whatever policy. So those are the kind of safeguard that they've put there. Now, I've talked about the fact that I took ChatGPT earlier and loaded my own customized data so that it can answer specific questions as it relates to me. So that's like personalization. So this is that example. So companies can take models that are available out there, like GPT. Remember, I said GPT is the brain of ChatGPT, and they give it more data, their own specific data, to retrain, so that, for example, if I embed that model as a chatbot on my website, it will be answering questions specific to sync skills and stuff, not general questions about everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
All
interesting.
right. So then it's important to know that some company may use a combination of all of these. So for example, ChatGPT would have used at least all these ones I've mentioned, all of them, to train the models. Any question so far? Any question? Okay. So some real life AI models. So these are narrowed models for image recognition. So for example, like Tesla, for example, they'll have some form of image recognition. That's why you see cameras across everywhere. Basically, they can see stop sign in traffic light and they can assist you when driving to stop, so you don't go and crash. They see around them. So they've been trained using models that can recognize images and make decisions based on that. Popularly, I'm sure most smart cars now. So if you're trying to crash something, it may auto like what is it called? Security stuff that will just assist you to stop the car, right? So you don't crash. So that's the kind of model that is involved in that decision. Language model, we've all used this. ChatGPT is an example. So you just speak in English, ask questions, it will return responses to you. Recommendation model as well. We've more talked about this. Netflix, Amazon, social media, all of those things. Yeah? Now, I want to talk about the difference between AI and automation because some people confuse this. We've talked about the fact that AI is what? Trying to simulate human experience. Human experience. We're trying to build machines that can reason, that can learn, that can solve problems, take action, right? And eventually even have self-consciousness. Automation is just the technology that just perform repetitive tasks. They just, like I explained earlier, I didn't want to be going on sick and be scouting for jobs and manually be sending it to people because that's just a waste of time for me. So I use some AI tools to help automate that. So I don't need to do anything manually. So you can see when it comes to AI, machine learn, they adapt, they make decisions independently. They are flexible to new situation as well. They use technique like machine language, right, to optimize performance. I've talked about machine language, machine learning, and why that is so important. Automation is just to help us with efficiency. So we don't do repeated tasks manually. So no new learnings, it just has to do the same thing. For example, the automation I did is not going to say, oh, I've seen this job, salary is too low, let me not send it. It's just going to, as long as I've configured it, send this job based on this parameter, that's what it will be doing. It's not going to learn anything or change anything. It will do it the same way. All right, so this is it in action. For example, you can see it like at 6 p.m. ish, it sent all this job from sick on our Slack. So this is an example of automation, but I used AI to do that. If I wanted to do this automation with code, right? I don't do coding, right? So that's me writing long lines of code, learning programming language, all of those things. So I didn't have to do that. That's the beauty of AI. That AI tools that I'm going to mention as well has made this easier for us. All right? Any questions so far? Yeah?
No questions.
Did you say question?
No, no questions.
Okay,
No
great.
questions.
All right. I want us to think about our own use case. What do you think, based on what you've learned so far, where do you think in your everyday life you can apply AI? All right, so probably in the chat, please, or you can mute as well and just say it probably in the chat. Based on what we've been talking about, what is your use case? What can you use? What would you be using AI for? Maybe I
Like,
put it.
are you okay for me to just say mine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Like, because I'm renovating my house, sometimes I have to search for, say, plumbers, electricians, and all of that. It's annoying. And I would like to use AI to just give me, pick the best of the best. Send me those numbers and let me call them rather than me, you know,
Yeah,
that would
I
be
love that.
just,
I'm with you on that, Tess. I think that would be
yes,
super easy. Like, just tell me, just do it for me.
yes, that's it.
Absolutely. There's a way, like you can do that. So for example, so there's this AI tool. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah.
So this is one AI tool, for example. Uh, okay, see, I can scrape all of LinkedIn job as well and send to you. But these two can scrape maybe all the people that they do building stuff in your
Okay.
area. Most likely they will have their information on Google, but it's gonna be like stressful to go and check, you do that research yourself, man, and look for
Mm,
all of those things. So this actor can go and help you. For example, if I wanted to extract information of all of the plumbers or whatever on
mm,
at South Australia, I believe that's where you're based.
yeah.
There's a way to do that. See now, real estate, yeah. There are some actors here, but yeah, so you see, this is like property related scraper, but I have to research it, but you get the point of
Mm,
what I'm saying. So
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
pretty much it will go and scrape all of Google and find all the
Yes.
information and you send it to your email,
Hmm.
right? So that's one way to save time, to be looking for numbers and all of those things. And that's one way that I'm also like using AI. So like for example, I demoed this. What I wanted to do here was I wanted to get all the jobs that I recent from LinkedIn, and I really wanted to automate the whole job application process, right? By
Hmm.
saying I'm still working on it. It's not yet done, but it's a bit complex. So basically, what I wanted to solve was build an AI agent that can search some that can get jobs on recent jobs, tailor
Hmm.
my resume, and
Mm.
apply for me automatically.
Oh my goodness.
I know you said I'm being
That's it.
careful. I know, like I know.
You know what? The next
I
one
know
is
you're gonna be excited. I was
the
holding
next
back
one
on
is
saying that.
is for the robot. Sorry, not robot, to actually answer the phone calls and
No,
do the interview.
not yet.
Yeah.
You need to
Tess, you
humanize
don't
that.
want to do the work anymore.
No,
I
no,
just want to
no.
do the
No,
I
interview on
can't
my
say that. I
behalf.
mean, what I'm saying sounds funny, but you never know. In the future, that's where it could go.
no,
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely. But
that's the
yeah,
direction.
yeah, we will get there. But I guess I mean if they want to hire a human being and it's robot that is doing the interview, you get what I mean? Like it's
No, no, but a robot that's embedded with your personality and other
oh
things. You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's what I
Yeah.
mean. I'm not saying random robot. No, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys, not to digress. I'm gonna show you a few things that I'm doing. Like, but it's a lot of time and it's a bit complex. But like I said, that use case is is one useful one that I know that if I solve and I come test, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
pay $200 to have you get this AI agent that will just tailor your resume. Remember how we say we don't want you to apply with generic resume.
Yeah.
We want there's a criteria, right? Imagine we configure that and you just have your personal AI agent that does custom job
That sounds so
application
good.
for you on steroids.
You're an agent. Oh my
I,
goodness.
like yeah, so I mean we're getting there. I'm still working on it, but yeah,
That'd
some
be
technical
fantastic.
issues like yeah. So that's one use case. For example, that okay. Question: would you pay $200 for that?
Of course.
Of course, right? You see, so this is me telling you that there's a way to, if you learn all the like possibilities in the world of AI, there's immense opportunity. Definitely, people will pay for that because it saves them time, energy, and all of that. And it's just delivering interview for you. Oh my
Mm.
God. such a time like saver, and people will pay for things that save them time and is efficient, that deliver value. So that's
Mm.
one problem I'm trying to solve. It's still a bit complex, but yeah. But I'll show you how I've done some automation. So like here, I've done some automation that makes our lives a bit easier. But there's power in really understanding AI, and I'm really passionate about that. That's why I'm investing time to share my experience with you all. So looking at the chat, thanks Tess for that. Some of you are sending me direct message. Okay, so Slack platform is our internal collaboration tool. It's like Microsoft Teams, but just for for our students and learners and our community, our close community. Another question. Please help us with example of AI one can use to for automated apply for. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm still working on it. It's not easy. There's a lot there, and yeah, I'm still working on it because I feel like that will save so much time to to people that are at that level, at that stage, and it's just a no-brainer. If I said pay this amount, you're going to pay because it saves you so much hours and hours and hours of doing it yourself. All right. Oluwashim, your hand is up.
Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So
I
I was just going to still on that point, which kind of AI will you be looking out for?
okay.
So personally, I was thinking if one can get an AI that can do like investment prediction,
Oh
like
yeah.
you can tell you this is the kind of cryptocurrency you can put your money, or the kind of real estate that you can put that you can invest in, or the kind of property you can buy that will give you like very immediate return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. That is possible today, right? You can, first of all, research some tools that can allow you to do that. But even in the immediate, you can go on tools like ChatGPT and say, pull me data of property market for the last, 10 years, and like, what is the prediction, like, based on some input. So the way you prompt it will determine the kind of output that you get. And also, in terms of cryptocurrency, you can learn from history. They say history
Mm.
always repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
You look at historic data of how it has fared, what makes it crash, why it crashes,
Mhm.
what makes it go up, all of those things, and then it can give you insight to position for the future. Now,
Mhm.
crypto is back up. Bitcoin like is so high right now. If you go and buy now, you may be shedding tears when it goes down because you buy at the peak, right? So you just need to know what the history said, right? And it will allow you make better decision for the future. So there's a way around that without AI agent per se, but definitely you can do that type of analysis today. Yeah. Wow. I'm loving these use cases. Really, really gladdens my heart. I love that. There are already tools for that. Yeah, the investment one. Millie is telling you. Millie, do you want to pop the tool here? Definitely, there will be tools there. As I said, there's a lot of AI in all industry now. So there will be tools there, but always know that historical financial performance does not, how do they even say, does not indicate the future, right? But it can give you
Yeah.
learning point, data point for what may happen. Okay. Um, all right, we'll move on. Thank you so much. Oh,
Mm.
Millie. Yeah, Millie.
Oh, sorry, I think it was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. Oh
Why?
no.
Why break my heart? Say
Sorry.
something. Say something.
No, 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 I don't have anything to say.
All right, no worries, no pressure. Okay, so in our simple everyday living, as I said, you can even use it for small things like meal planning, workout, research. There's a lot of use case, learning, reporting. analysis. The other day, what did I do? So there's a tool called Notebook. Does anybody know Notebook LM? Anybody here? So this is Notebook LM, right? So, can you guys see my screen?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, I harvested data from different sources. For example, all the YouTube videos that like we've done before, webinars, all of that, and I told it to create FAQs. I told it to create FAQs for me, for Sync Qs. So,
Okay.
so I can embed those FAQs as data point on our website. So if somebody is asking, oh, how long does your program go? How much is it? All of those kind of information. I don't need to respond a billion times
Mm.
manually, right? So you can use this for summary of information from different sources. You can see here there's YouTube video, there are PDF document, etc. Right? I even added my financial statement, right? And said, can you help me understand what the summary of this document? What should I be looking out for to optimize? There's so many possibilities. You just need to think about it and research it. So at the end of the day, there are only few AI experts. I don't anybody calling themselves AI expert at this point. I mean, I'm just sorry for them because AI changes every single day now. So what you learned yesterday, you need to always be on top of it, just like technology. So this is just the start. But the fact that you're here today and you've learned how the field of AI actually works, how it is trained, the techniques, what it can be used for, you're already better than a lot of people. And you should continuously do that because that's the way you will find yourself in the pool of wealth opportunities. Right? I didn't say that. It is a quote from the book How to Get Rich by
Okay.
Felix. Felix. I always say that because he says that many a man and women find themselves in the pool of wealth because they continuously learn, right? So
Yeah.
if you continuously learn, upgrade yourself, you stumble on opportunity that other people would not see. And that's how wealth is created. Anyway, why does AI matter? I don't think I need to be flogging this now. We already know why it seems so important in this day and age. In finance, you can see a use case there. It can be used for analyzing thousands of transactions. Have you seen how sometimes if you send money above your limit, the bank holds it and say, hey, the suspicion this happening, confirm you're the one. They are using AI to assist. There's not somebody looking at those transactions manually and say, hey, test is sending 18K, 20K, 100K to one supplier. Let's block it, right? It's an AI tool that is used in this kind of instance. Healthcare, I've mentioned this. We played it in Kahoot as well. There's so many use cases there for research, for diagnosis, for analysis, all of those things. In retail, Amazon recommendation, so many things there for for processing of the delivery, inventory management. There's so many use case there as well. Customer experience, your chatbot, I'm sure all of us were there. But let's quickly talk about the AI adoption ladder. And this was inspired from my coach, Dan Mattel. So it was the one that taught us this. So this adoption ladder, you need to know, and this is how you actually position yourself, right? So position yourself for opportunity of the future. Today, can I echo, like, can you guys tell me what level do you think you're playing at? So level one is chat, right? And what are you doing there? You're playing with it. You're just playing with ChatGPT and all that too. You're exploring it, asking questions, getting responses. Um, that's step one. Step two is system. I've shown you step two. Yeah, like the
Mhm.
automation thing I did, right? To automate a process, send jobs, all of those things, right? That's a system that will be working. The third step, tools. When you're like building AI tools, right? We have we have a platform where we're launching. Um, I think in the new year, it's called Oloja Hub. We plugged in AI there as well to help people, you know, create listing on the platform just with some prompt, right? So there are so many AI tools as well that you've seen for different use cases for um, finance. I think Millie shared one as well on the chat for analyzing investment. There's so many tools out there, right? I don't know. Is anybody at level 3 here? Has anybody built an AI tool?
Yeah, working on it.
They're working on it, yeah.
My
Great.
my daughter's been talking about it. She's working on it right now.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Love that. All right. Level 4, APIs. Think students should know APIs. So basically, application program interface. It's how system communicates with each other. So there are some AI APIs. Even ChatGPT have APIs that you can talk to, as I said, and you pay for it. And then there's custom AI tools as well. Somebody can build Noah's. So that was what I was trying to flex earlier. Noah's AI bot that is sending stuff on Slack. But custom is a bit more sophisticated. I can build I actually did, but I didn't deploy it. Build a Noah's AI tool that just aggregate all the information that I've generated and turn that to a knowledge base. So rather than me being there every time, somebody can just go and be asking uh, that app or the model questions. So I want to hear in the chat, what level are you guys? What level in the AI adoption ladder? What level are you? Are you still level 1 playing, which is fine, exploring the tools, all the different AI tools, or you've created some systems, or you've created some tools or product, or you have APIs, or you've built a custom AI system? What level are you guys? You can unmute if you wanted to do that as well.
You're past level 1, getting to level 2.
Oh,
Would
you're
that
moving
mean,
to level 2.
yeah,
Good.
what would
That's
that,
great.
do we put level 2 there? Or
Tayo, there has to be a prize for Tess. Tess is keeping my company name.
Yeah, there has to be very
yes.
engaged test,
Yeah,
really.
Oh,
yeah,
my daughter's been disturbing me about this thing that she's been
Oh,
working on every day, every day.
that is good. Please, you need to encourage her
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
grind
am
it, to go
sometimes.
deeper. Yeah,
so you
that's
want
great.
to be able to contribute to that conversation as well. Like, hey, I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
this, yeah, which is good.
absolutely.
Great. Do you feel like you've taken a couple of things out from this session?
Of course.
Great, great.
Absolutely.
No,
All
there's
right.
a comment in the group chat.
Comment. I built system. Oh, Text Now Plus uses API to generate phone numbers and OTP. Amazing. You see, oh, Benjamin, do you want to tell us?
A bit,
Let me,
yeah,
let me open the platform. Oh, look at this. Beautiful.
amazing.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we can never assume, right? See,
I
look at
know.
Beautiful it is. You want to tell us your business case for this? This is live, right?
Uh, yeah, it's live at the moment. So we just deployed I think last month. Yeah. So it's Obina you're talking with Noah.
I was gonna say, is that Obina?
I
Because
was
that
like,
sounds like
oh,
your voice.
It's
I
Obina.
genuinely.
wait,
Yeah.
Obina,
My
you
name too
have
is Ben,
launched
so
app.
but yeah. Yeah, actually did it with some with a developer in Nigeria. I had the idea and I was like, okay, let me create something. Although it's there, people have it, so but I just thought of doing something, you know.
Wow.
It's
Look at
brilliant, Obina. It's
innovation at
brilliant.
play. I love that. I love that. This is
Yeah.
Good.
amazing. Well done.
Excellent.
Well,
It's
free
very brilliant. Well done.
temporary phone number, receive test. Yeah.
Mm. So you don't have to
Yeah.
buy like when you come to the country.
No.
That'd be
Yeah.
Mm.
lovely.
Very good.
Did
Yeah.
you get all of the regulatory part of this sorted?
I worked with a lot of people. I worked with developers, I worked with content creators,
Yeah.
designers, so
And
I've
it's
not done
working.
anything legal.
Have
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
working.
tested it's working?
It's working. It's working. But I think we'll still need to improve on some things like well, we are looking at using like eSIM cards, like
Yeah.
yeah, those type of things, like in future, like yeah.
That
So
is great. So what role did you play? BA or what?
BA, yeah, and tester, you know.
Wow.
Look at you. I am proud. Come on.
Well done,
Get in
Obina.
here.
Why have you been so quiet about this? This is
Come and have a
really,
look.
really good.
This is good.
See what this
Made my
guy's done
day.
Yeah.
Hey, well done,
through
well done.
AI.
Well done. See now
Mm-hmm.
you're
This is what he did.
amazing. You're hot cake.
So
Oh, hot
I'm
cake.
also looking at doing some SEO and
Yeah,
Yes.
you
yeah,
should. So it would pop up when we search for things like this.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mm,
amazing. I love
this
it.
is
You guys need to go and sort out the regulatory part and launch it. Like
yeah.
just
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that made my day. Somebody put an interesting chat. Ugo 5. Tell us, Ugo, what did you five at custom AI level? What did you build?
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Ugo.
I am listening to music.
See, you can use AI to.
I've built several models mostly for smart factory automation.
Wow. What is it called?
Pretty much for condition monitoring. Yeah, for monitoring industrial equipment. The last one was with Hyundai in Korea.
Wow.
So
What is it called?
Sorry?
What is the app called? What is the name of it?
It's pretty much not an app. It's more like a
Okay.
framework. It's like a
Oh, okay.
custom
Yeah, custom. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you said number 5. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's more, yes, engineering, more like Hyundai was trying to integrate to make fuel consumption cheaper for diesel cars.
Yeah?
So ideally, you can mix diesel with water to form an emulsion. So, but finding the optimal balance between water and fuel, and in different weather conditions, because during colder seasons, it's better to have more diesel than water. During summer,
Hello.
it's okay, more water. So finding the optimal condition
Hello.
was a
Sorry.
challenge. Hello?
Yes.
No, you go on,
Can
sorry.
you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Go.
So
Yeah.
our work then was to help use an AI model to pretty much monitor the engine, monitor the exhaust's performance, and other things. So with that, they were able to more of a research-based project. Then gradually, they're now transitioning into the full the full on other areas like finding devices that could, help balance that would work with the AI model for their,
Model.
for cars they want to build in the
Wow,
future. Yeah.
that is impressive.
And
So you work with
other
a team of people, right?
sorry?
You work with a team of people, right?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
fantastic. Thank you for sharing. I love that. I was very intrigued. Thank you. That was brilliant. You see, amazing people on the call, guys. You guys talk to me now. Oh, come on. Okay, this is the highlight of the because I was already feeling like I'm blabbing. All right, great. Thank you so much. I think to just round up because of our time, we are moving into an era where you can't ignore the power of artificial intelligence. I think that is clear in every facet of life. That is true. So we must stay on top of this technology again to like get the best leverage, position ourselves so that we can get opportunity. The next wave of the evolution of this technology would be um, agentic AI, which means AI that will now make decision, right? You remember I said the third stage, that consciousness of machine will be the first step is this agent AI, agentic AI, where AI will be able to do stuff for you like shop, cook, do things, do some like manual tasks, like all these laborious tasks that we have to exert a lot of energy to do. Shopping, there's a lot of things that agentic AI or agent AI will be able to do for us in the future. We need to continuously educate ourselves, and in fact, it's here. As I was saying earlier, Gemini, they released this Gemini Advanced. Basically, you can stream yourself, like stream your environment, and it will tell you what is happening, what summary you can take out of that experience. So it is mind blowing, and they just released that 2 days ago, right? And it also has like extension, Chrome extension that will allow you to be able to give it some prompt to say, hey, help me shop for a Tesla, and it's going to go on Tesla website, check, configure the car, and then get you to review. Or even it can, if you tell it to make payment and everything, it will do that for you. So imagine we get to that point and we are not educating ourselves. That would be like a dangerous thing. And that is why I'm so pleased that we're hearing so many things that amazing people are doing with AI already, which is great. If you're here, keep going. If you're like level 1, keep going. I mean, you should all be at level 1. If you're not at level 1, then there's something happening. We need to plug ourselves into level 1 and aspire to move up the ladder. Get to system. What can I do in my life? What am I spending so much time and energy on today that I can just automate and will be valuable? I gave that example. If I created that automation that helps my student just apply to jobs and it's quality application, they are getting results, they are going to pay for that. That means I make more money because I've learned to do something new, right? So if you build apps, tools, and all of that, even more leverage. We don't want to get to a point where we're just spending our time to work for people, right? And consume our energy. Because at the end of the day, our value is based on the skills that we have. The more you have skills, the more you increase your value, right? So we need to start to think about how can we get to level 3, 4, 5, all of that to get the kind of leverage that will be unstoppable. So yes, agentic era, think about it today. How am I going to use AI going forward with what you've learned today? If you want to work with me a bit more closely, I have a basic AI course launching next week. So the early risers, I would say, or early adopters, is just $69. It's basis of AI. We'll go into things like, some of the skills that you need to have, like prompt engineering is a big thing. So basically, you need to learn the element of what makes a good prompt, to get the best efficient result. Automation, I showed you, for example, how I've done some automation to help some of my students, and I still plan to do more. You can learn introduction to that. Tools like, ChatGPT today, but you need to learn how to prompt it better to get better result. Notebook element for research and writing. I showed you Apify for scrapping data and all of that from the web and doing some automation. I showed you make.com. I did some automation as well. Today, I have a personal research assistant. He goes online and search for all the immigration news and send it to my inbox every 7:30 a.m. without fail. So he sent me all the news about immigration because I care about that. And I read it, I glance through, okay, I'm informed. That is one way of doing that. And Zapier for business automation as well. I've done a lot of automation even with my company, to just say, hey, when student on board, send them some email automatically, some information, all of those things. I've tried it before, and it's working. And if you know some of these two, you can already start to make money even if you master it, and you can go and help organization reduce 10 hours of their work day or 20 hours. They will pay you for it. I can become a consultant, who knows. But anyway, if you're interested in that opportunity, you know where to find me. Basically, you can scan this for our class as well. We are currently running 5% off. So for people that don't know, at Sin Skills, we help immigrants build skills like business analysis, project management, product owner, scrum master skills in as little as 90 days. And you can build skills that would increase your leverage, increase your skills so that you can increase your value as well. So if you want to sign up for our class, you can do that as well. You can send us a message on our IG, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere you can find us on the internet, or you get some email from us, you can reply as well. Thank you so much. Any question before we call it a day? Thank you so much. It's been great having the chat with you guys, and hoping to collaborate more and more in future.